All right, Dom and I first started exchange texts on Instagram. Welcome to Divorced Dads of America. I'm Anthony Thompson, your host. This could be a good one. I got Dom here. We were exchanging texts on Instagram. It was dope. A mutual friend of mine, I reached out. I was like, yo, do you know this guy? And he did. And he just confirmed, who he was, what he did, what was going on. And that started sort of the hook for me of Dom and what he was doing and the exchanges that he had and what he was doing. And I saw a lot of things that I used to do with, I just told him now a minute ago that we probably would have been exchanged at some point when I was in LA with, red carpets and celebrity stuff and the fiascos of all that. But the times have changed. And as I peered into the dad of this man and the stories, and I started digging in deep into the subways, I saw something much more powerful than flashy lights and Bieber boots. I saw a dad playing with his daughter. I saw a dad doing things like all of us do. These are the real conversations, the most human ones you can ever have. What I love about Dom is that he is a dad. He's like you. And I know he's got an incredible story and huge accolades, but he's also like us. He's not perfect. He wants to be a great dad. He lives to build his legacy. He creates when nothing seems possible or logical. I admire him for that. I honor him for that. I ask you today, as I do on every time we have a guest, I ask you to take a step back. I ask you to take a deep breath. I ask you to open your heart and open your ears wherever you're at, wherever you're listening. I do not need another podcast for you to check off. I need you to hear something that's going to change your life today. This is not just a moment of time. It's something that can create something in your life and do something with it that can change your life. I want to welcome Don. And before I do, I just want to say, guys, that you're here, you've joined. 2 things you can do, 2 clicks, simple, easy. Spotify, Apple, subscribe, follow, drop a comment, leave a question. Here's 2 reasons why. One is every time you do that, the algorithm goes crazy and it finds other dads who are in worse off shape than you. I can't do this on my own. I want to transform 1 million dads, their life and legacy. I need your help. Your couple of clicks does exactly that. It grabs them. It gives them a place. It gives them a hope. It gives them something that they can do next. So I want to thank you in advance, guys, for doing just that. And again, I'm going to open this thing up. It's going to be a different podcast today with Dom, not the regular vibes that we normally have. Most podcasts Dom does, he talks about his art, man, his shoes, the clients. I mean, the roster he's got is epic. The craft, the come up, his story. Today, we're going to go somewhere else. We're going to talk about the man who takes broken things apart and he rebuilds them better. And what happens when that man has to do it for himself. And so, Dom, walk me through like high level 30,000 foot view for these guys. Like, what do you do with the shoes and the brands that you're doing? And when you pick it up, like when you look at it, what do you see? What do you see that most people don't?
I think it's just I like to just how can I make something not better but just unique and different and speak from my soul rather than what's there. I mean, that's where I started when I was 17 years old. I picked up an airbrushed a pair because I wanted something that no one else had. And so now when I pick something up, it's I want to make something that no one else has ever seen.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Let me throw a couple things that guys probably have heard some of these names, and I watched some of these videos, which are pretty dope. Guys like Jake Paul, Drake, Bieber. You got this dope studio where you're doing all this stuff. From just having a sewing machine that, your grandma's sewing machine to all of this stuff. And so, what's the thing? I think now where you're at, looking back, what surprised you the most about how far it went?
What surprised me the most of how far it went?
Yeah, how big it got.
I think for so long, allowing it to come from a place of not good enough.
Yeah.
I separated in 2020, and if I didn't, I would probably still be in that place of not good enough. Very dark place.
Yeah.
And so I created from a place of not good enough rather than possibility and love. I mean, I'm sure there's part of that, but it always stemmed of like, man, that's not good enough. Like, this sucks. I need better. And then you never appreciate how far you've come. And so, yeah, I think that's what's surprising is being able to go that far in that mindset.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's real because I think, I'm talking to 1,000 dads a month, and most of them are in that place, dude, just like you. Like, and the reason why I think your story is so powerful, and the reason why other guys like yourself that I want to bring guys like yourself in is because the language and the phrases are literally the same as a guy that has nothing or a guy that has everything, and it's still the battle of the mind that you're facing and they're facing. And so
Yeah.
I just find that, like, it's number one, thank you for sharing that. It's a humbling thing. Like, guys, most guys don't want to, jump into that thing and talk about that. And I'll throw this in your way as well before we jump into
Yep.
some of the little layers in there. But you've said your creative process, is unorthodox, it's unexpected, it's natural. You don't follow instructions, you build from your own head. Where did that come from? And what was the cost of that?
What's the cost of that?
Yeah.
Um, I don't. I'm not exactly sure where it came from. It just came. It felt like it came from me as a kid trying to rebel and not fit in. Um, I mean, at a very young age, I just recall building Legos sets, but not following the directions, and then making something different or, in my eyes, better and more unique, and then building things in the backyard just by doing rather than having the information and following step by step guide. But to answer the question about, what did that cost? Shit, man, that costed me years of stress, years of the figuring it out on my own, like hitting my head on the wall over and over and over. And that's just where I felt like I had to learn. Now knowing what I know now, it's like, damn, now I understand why there is school. Now I understand why, you have a base that you can give to your children that hopefully they can learn from rather than learn from zero. And so it's cost a loss, but it cost a lot, but it also gave a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I needed at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting thing to look back and just, count costs and see. And, of course, like, you can't have the road any different, but I think,
Yeah.
you're reviewing it in a way of, what you're going to do in the future, because those things are potentially coming back in different ways and different forms. I want to throw this one your way about, just mentally how you had this hospital situation, and you went in and I know there was pressure and it was massive and it was deadlines and there was drugs involved and those sorts of things. But I guess the thing that I'm most curious about, for dads that especially battle that, is what was it like going in, and then what was it like coming out? What was like a before and after for you in that season? And feel free to, like, if you need to give more context about what was going on. I want to leave that
Yeah.
open. I want to leave that open for you. Like, I don't want to,
Yeah, I mean, specifically, I think I was 24 years old. I got asked to make 20 pairs of shoes for Justin Bieber for a tour. And, I was invincible. I felt invincible. I felt like anything was truly possible. And also, while not being in the right state of mind through self stress and not taking care of my mind, body, and spirit. And, going into that was like confused, coming out of, so let me take a step back. So I got asked to do these shoes. I said, yes, of course I can make it happen. This was like 20 pairs in less than a week. And I allowed the pressure to get more. And then I just,
which let me just, so 20 pairs normally should take what?
yeah. I mean, I would say at that time, one every couple days. So, maybe I could have got 3 pairs done,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
which I
Yeah,
think I did, which I
yeah,
think I did.
okay.
at that time. I mean, yeah, now it's like you can get a pair done in a day. It really depends. It really
Yeah.
depends. But at that time, like 2-3 days for one pair. Um, yeah, it was, very creative kid where just, I think you have to be delusional sometimes. That's a little far, delusion of unrealistic, but you know, if I was never delusional, I wouldn't have, gotten to where I've gotten at all. So yeah, anyways, got asked to do that. Became they diagnosed me with bipolar. I ended up jumping out of a window. I was in a manic episode, which I didn't know anything about. I saw a regular doctor. They prescribed me Xanax. I didn't want to take it. Um, Ended up jumping out of a window. Woke up in a hospital. They came back and said, "You're bipolar." And I'm like, what is that? And so then went down the rabbit hole of, oh, your family was bipolar and all of this stuff. My mother's like, yeah, we've blah, blah, blah. And then they put me on meds. And I needed the meds at that time to help me come down from the psychosis that I was in. I was 23, 24 years old, taking steroids way too much. I worked at a gym, so I thought that was what you're supposed to do because everyone did it. And then, yeah, just not being kind to my body, I think I smoked weed and just out partying and drinking, not eating healthy. And then just being in that negative self-talk took me over the edge. So, but coming out of it, I came out with a diagnosis and I came out with at least meds that helped me, I guess, get back to I guess what we would call a normal.
Yeah.
Um, which at least felt good at that time in that moment to get out of a psychosis. But then after that, it was like a depression because they said you have to be on pills for the rest of your life, and this is bipolar, and blah 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 blah. And so eventually, it just didn't feel good because I wasn't truly in touch with my creativity or myself. It just kind of numbed me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me throw this one your way because I really want to dig into this part of separation, kids. You just shared like that moment there, crazy, numbed out, hurts, foggy, all those types of things going on. Let's fast forward. There's that feeling there, and then let's fast forward to you've got kids, you're separated, and now you're alone at your house. What did that feel like the first time when you didn't have your kids?
In that moment was very dark. Um, and even to go to a step back of that, it was like, I was just working to provide, and so it didn't feel like I was a father. And so, um, yeah, at one point, thinking that I wouldn't even be able to see my kids, felt very similar. But there's something within me, and I think that's the, you know, allowing the pain, choosing what to do with that pain and where to take it. And so I always, my dad was a great father, and I always wanted to be a great father. I just didn't really understand or know how. I thought I had to provide and just make money. And so it forced me, which was by choice, to step up and just be a present father. But that feeling was the same. It was dark, it was lonely, it was numb. It was a very shitty feeling.
Yeah, what did the like some of the phrases sound like to you in just in that dark space? Because I just want guys to hear that they think it's only them. They think that their story is only happening to them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just want to, just have some context of some of those phrases like you said before, like you said earlier, man, I just didn't feel like I was good enough. Man, great line. That's every one of these dads are right in that line.
I mean, I think in this life we always have the we can take things two ways, and at that time it was just really dark, where you're like even contemplating death, suicide,
Yeah.
or you just don't want to be alive, or you don't know how to get through it, and it was fucking scary, man.
What was the best advice that you got during that time?
During that time, that's when I really just looked at myself and said, I can't keep living like this. And that's when I started seeing a therapist. And it was very rough beginning.
Yeah.
But like it all shifted because I started doing the work. The best advice was just like, I mean, what was the best advice, man? It was just, I'm right here, you know? Like you are the most important thing in your life, and you can talk to yourself just like a friend. You can treat yourself like a friend. It's easy to treat other people good, but it's so easy to treat yourself badly. And so understanding like you don't have to do that. You don't
Yeah.
have to be hard on yourself. You know, it came from my parents, it came from their parents, yada, yada, yada. But like, you don't have to treat yourself like that. You know, so back to that, what we talked about from a place of good enough
Yeah.
while always being human, wanting more, better, different, right? Like, it's okay that we're human and we want more, better, different. It's not okay if we're going to only live from that place of not good enough, because it just becomes a very dark hole. And that's, you know, that's kind of where the separation stems from.
Yeah. So in therapy, which is huge, and probably most of the dads listening. Sorry, did I lose you?
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
So most of the dads, like, therapy is now, it's second nature. Like, everyone throws it out there and all of those things. But you said something different, that usually what happens is a lot of guys go into therapy and they just, oh, hold on. Let's see.
Give me 1 sec. Hold on 1 sec. Good.
Yep. Yeah, we're good. I'll
All right.
fix it. I'll fix it. So you go into therapy. Guys know therapy. It throws that out all the time. It's always recommended, all that jazz. We get that. Okay. So you said something in there that is a little bit different, and you said something, you did the work. What was like the one thing that for you, when you say did the work, what did that actually look like? What does that mean?
Putting it into action, like you can talk about it and you can see it. And it took a little bit because it was like, you know, the mental game is can be a very challenging game. It's also very simple. And so it's about reworking your self talk, building your relationship with yourself. And so there's one thing about talking and talking, and then there's the thing about doing and putting it into action, putting it out into the field of life, right? Like actually using it in the field and then coming back to share that. So yeah, I mean, it's just like working out a muscle. The brain is a very powerful tool.
Yeah. What did that look for you? What did it look like for you practically? Like, you took this on, you sit in therapy, you walk out, because most people will go in and out and it's just a subscription.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool, I checked the box, but there's something in you said I needed to do the work. And you're talking to me about, self-talk and creating that system and plan, which is, a lot of the stuff that we do in our group and our system. But I'd love to hear from you. What did that like look like and sound like for you?
I mean, I just really wanted to be a better human. I wanted to be a better father. I wanted to be a better leader. I wanted to be a better person. And so, you know, not letting the past define me, but also just building that relationship and being like, it's okay to be broken. It's okay to be imperfect, but like you also get to choose how to grow from it. And so I'm a very open, vulnerable human, and I speak a lot, and I've taught so many classes, and I speak deeper than how to make a pair of shoes. It's also about how to be just a better person, how to connect with yourself, how to take care of yourself. And so, yeah, I didn't want to live. I've come a long way since I was a kid. I've done so many things and overcome so many things, and there's still always more levels to overcome. So
Yeah. So let's throw it into the dad life then. So you roll in, you're providing, you're doing your thing with obviously the work that you're doing, right? So then there comes this moment where the kids are there and there's fatherhood maybe gap per se. So
yeah.
for you, what did the fatherhood gap look like? And then what did you do to start closing it?
Um, I mean, I remember my first son, my first child that came, and like I just went to work mode, and so it was easier to just work rather than to be present. And so the separation really forced, and then a little bit of time away from my kids, it really forced me to be like, what do you really want?
Mm.
And that they were always something I really wanted. And so, you know, the work was done for myself, which then goes into how can I be a better parent for them as well. So closing the gap was, I mean, I remember I don't think I ever stayed alone with my kids until my daughter was 2 years old. It was always traveling, working, and so mom was mom, and she took care of everything at the home, and I could never do anything right. It always had to be her way, and so when I got to spend one-on-one time with my daughter, I got to connect with my daughter because it was more difficult to connect with my daughter at a young age. But once that happened, it was just a game changer. Everything clicked.
Yeah.
Everything clicked of like, oh shit. And it also made it made everything feel like it made sense. Like even the separation, even as
Hmm.
hard as it was, even as shitty as it was in a point of time, it all just made sense of like, oh shit, this is why you're going through all of this to connect with your kids, especially your daughter. I mean, both of them, but my daughter especially. And now, yeah, she's about to be 8 years old, and so it everything changed the course of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got that connection, you had that time away, and obviously this happens with a lot of guys in a lot of different fields. Whether it was you working, whether we have
Yep.
guys that are listening that they travel, same thing. They travel for work, they come home and
Yep.
they feel like a stranger. So they come in and they feel like they can't do anything right, and so now you have this opportunity, and now it's happening. And how do you do that differently with the schedule that you currently have? Like, what are some, because guys listening are always, they're busy, they're doing a million things, and we talk about creating systems and things like that for dads to help them. I'd love to
Yep.
hear for you, what did you then have to do to like create some sort of formula or system for yourself to make sure that those things were in order?
Yeah. I mean, I really just had to shift my work hours around. I mean, and I also just made it a priority to pick up my children. Like, I never thought I was going to be the one to pick
Yeah.
them up and drop them off at school. And now it's just a part of my life. It's like, and now I couldn't imagine without doing it. I just watched an interview earlier about, speaking about, your kids are going to grow up and they're not going to want to hold your hand anymore. And it's like, you got to cherish those moments, and you could be a masculine, loving father. And, it doesn't have to be the old way, because, we all learn from our parents or like what we saw or what we see
Yeah.
on TV. And it's like that you don't have to follow those rules. Like you can create your own.
Yeah. What's something for you that you created your own? I mean, like, Dom, you've
For me, it
yeah,
was like 100%. I'm picking up my children from school Monday, Tuesday. It was like that was a non-negotiable. I had to
yeah, yeah,
pick them up, and take them back to work. But I picked them up, and that was hard. Like to just even to be at the kids' school and like try to connect with the parents because like I just wanted to work. I didn't want to do all that, but like it just shifted.
Talk to me about because a few of these moments here, man, like that you've had in life are very humbling moments. And a guy like you know, again, I talked briefly, you know, with the people you know that are in your world through work with, you know, the Jake Pauls and the Biebers and whoever else is in there. And there's a million more, right? And you know, that's sort of the top of the game that there is. But then these other sides where very humbling moments for yourself, having to go through, you know, a hospital situation or separation, you know, just that with school, bro. Like you walking into a school, having to commune with other parents is a humbling experience.
Yeah.
What the heck happened for you to like take the cloak off and be like, okay, I'm just dad right now. How do you do that?
I mean, you learn, and what I've learned is like there is multiple parts to us as humans, and at times we feel like there's only one. We only need to be. We're supposed to be one way, but it's just not true. We live different lives. We live a, a parent life. We live, you know, the mask of the persona I created, the artist, and then even being a teacher, and then coming home and being, you know, at that time a husband, and then trying to lie about the different parts rather than just you don't need to be one way, and so
Mm,
you can still play those different parts as
yeah.
long as you have this the same basis of what do you call it, I just did this whole workshop about just having, you know, the rules that you live by. And so yeah, I don't know, it's been such a journey of like overcoming all of those things of like thinking that I needed to be one way.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're obviously, you know, you've created a lot of different things and streams, and you have your kid, and you're humbling yourself, and you're becoming these, you know, there's those different parts and different moments that you have to become, and especially as a guy like yourself, you know, it can be very, very challenging. I would be curious, Dom, for you. I mean, artist, shoe wizard, um, I like this whole thing, how you rebuild and you tear things apart and put it back together. What is it for you, man? Like, if you were the shoe, if
Yeah,
you're looking
I
at
mean,
your
I'm doing it. I'm doing it, right? Like I'm allowing myself to go through things and getting hurt and then picking myself back and rebuilding it. And that takes, whether it's therapy or coaching or
yeah,
all of these different things, you know, physical working out, and then also learning more, like learning to be a better father, being more present. I mean, and that's what the biggest takeaway from all of this is, was like now when I have a friend, or even if it's someone I just talked to for the first time, I get to connect deep. Like if they're having a baby,
yeah,
I get to connect deeper about like how I feel like I did it wrong, right? And I get to just share with them of like, yo, this is how I think I could have done it better. That, you know, what I wouldn't have separated, right? I
yeah,
wouldn't have gone through that. And it's like just showing up for your partner and the child, even when you can't do anything. You really just can't do anything.
yeah,
You know, when a mother has their baby, it's like you can't really do anything, especially when the mother is so particular and like you can still step up. You just have to like quiet yourself, and it's a very humbling, unique, weird place because you don't know. You know, for me, I went just straight to work, but then it just created more separation
yeah,
rather than still trying to just be there. So like I've connected with so many men that are just having babies or about to have babies that we get to connect deeper on those things. So that's part of the rebuilding and kind of, you know, helping other people too
yeah,
by being vulnerable and open.
yeah. Those two words you just said right there. I want to hear, and I think dads need to hear this as well. We talk about this a lot in our group and our community about. I talk about emptying out your pockets and what that does, and just the things that are sticky and sticking to you. And I think Dom, your history shows that you've had to do that from time to time of just getting the things out of your pockets that potentially are weighing you down. If there's a few things you want to share about what those are, cool. But if not, talk to the dad about how powerful that was for you and what that weight felt like when it wasn't there?
I just feel like we need more mentors in this life. And as a man, it's easy to get tunnel vision and just be alone, right? There's many times we all feel like alone, but that's also by choice. Even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it's by choice, it is. And being able to give and share and be vulnerable and just open with strangers or friends, it's just, yeah, I like how you say that, empty the pockets, because it's like, fuck, if people always ask if you know what you know now back then, and it's
Yeah.
like, that's just what ifs, but it's like, well, we can give that knowledge as much as we can, and it feels good to give, whether it's listened to or not, at least you get to help share
Yeah.
and hopefully change lives of men and kids and relationships.
Yeah. Was it scary for you when you first like started to do that? And what was that like for you?
Yeah, I think it goes back into like a childhood trauma of like, you want to share something, but then, people look at you like, you're wrong because you didn't do it right, right? Like you think everything you need to, that's what happened. I thought I had to follow this perfect book and like be perfect, and that's where I ended up in the hospital so many times. And so at first sharing was difficult. Then after it's like, I don't give a fuck what people think. Like I just want to share and be honest and authentic to myself and to any human that I touch.
Yeah, it's good. And how are you doing that with the kids? Like, I don't know about ages or whatnot, but like, how are you then? Obviously, you didn't have that. I didn't have that, right? So, what's that like for you? Like, how are you walking them down that road?
Man, you know, being honest and vulnerable with them as well, allowing myself to cry and sharing why I'm crying and saying that it's okay to cry. Because you even see kids, my kids now are 10 and 8, about to be 10 and 8 or 7, 8. And even like 4 years ago, I could see how hard it was for my children to cry already.
Yeah, yeah,
They already didn't want to cry because they felt like it was not okay. Even my daughter is so, she does not want to cry. And
mm,
so there was times where I cried because I needed to. I needed that release of what it actually does for us. And so, sharing why I'm crying and that it's okay to cry, and then if I grew up my parents yelling at me, and so there were still times where I yelled at my kids, and so then I had to go back and apologize very quickly and say, hey, I'm I'm human, I'm still learning my way, you know and so it's like, it's kind of like talking to your kids like you don't know it all, because we don't. No one,
yeah,
none of us know it all.
yeah,
And just being
yeah. I was just gonna say this because this was something I've been going with a lot of these guys and clients and whatnot about just that what you said, and just this whole thing of whether it's apologizing or saying that you were wrong. That's not normal, but it sounds like you've walked down that road, and I'd love to hear, and maybe you share with the dads, like, how powerful that was for you and what it did for your kids as well.
just
And
lets the go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying, and that's coming, and I think, again, I'm framing it down with a guy like yourself that is, at the pinnacle in so many levels of work and whatever, right? So it's like you're right in so many places in so many ways, and people can
Right.
put you up on that pedestal, and you come home. And then it's like, okay, how do you do that, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's helped me just become a stronger human and realize that it's okay. And so even I mean, look, it's also, the same way I look at a relationship and how I can apologize faster and do, go through things faster. It's also your children. And so, at first it's very difficult because my parents never did it that way.
Yeah.
And so now it's cool because my kids, so I did it, and so then my kids do it. Meaning, if they fight or yell or something happens, they'll come and apologize fairly quickly, right? Because they're just mirroring you. So we're not going to be perfect, but it's also, how can we, go through things and like truly feel how it feels of knowing that it didn't feel right to yell or it was wrong or there's another way to do it, and just being open and honest about it.
Yeah.
And so it's built a deeper connection with me and my kids.
Yeah, it does. I just think, man, what you just said right there is such a game changer, and so many. It's so difficult for dads many times, and myself included. Man, it was hard to just say I was wrong. My bad. Like, forgive me. And I know that it's such a powerful thing for the kids to hear that, and then they can actually. I didn't do it well because, again, like you, I didn't see my parents do that for me. When it was wrong.
Yeah.
One thing here before we close and land this plane, a couple little things. First is, Dom, like where you're at, what you've been doing when you're going through that season. It's been difficult. Was there a habit that really locked in for you that was a game changer that would help another dad? What would that have been?
Hmm. Like, and ask me that in another way.
Was there a rhythm or a pattern or a habit that you began to do that really helped you kind of move forward on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's really just waking up in the morning and talking to myself in a positive way. You know, it's easy to let the unconscious mind take control, but we get to control how we talk to ourselves. And we live in a, overly negative world,
Yeah.
and we get to choose how we talk to ourselves. We get to choose those thoughts of how we want them to allow us to feel. So waking up every morning, I wrote on a piece of paper, I'm right here and we are alive today. And remembering, like, no matter what the fuck is going on in this world or how difficult it is, it might lose a house because it can't afford it or whatever may be in front of us. It's like we're alive today. And there's nothing more important than that. And then than that. And when you can understand that, like everything feels better.
Yeah, it's good. When you first started doing that, did you have any like denial? Like I have a lot of guys when we start talking and working with them about self-talk, they'll be like, I don't feel that way and that feels weird or it feels
Yeah.
uncomfortable. For you, what was that like?
Yeah, I think it was difficult to believe because
Yeah.
we're in that unconscious mind and that was running on repeat. And so then eventually to break out of that and be like, no, I don't believe that negative shit. No, I don't need to be in that negative self-talk. And so yeah, it took time to like believe it and then to be like, yo, that isn't the part of me that there's always we have parts of us. We have multiple parts of us and they're both true, but we get to choose which ones we really put the energy into. So once I started, being in touch with my true, authentic self, then yeah, it became easier. But yeah, at first it was very difficult of
Yeah.
like, nah, and that's why it's also important by who you surround yourself with and, positive people,
Yeah.
people that just help uplift you. And then, you can shift your mindset you know, of who and what you want to be around and how you perceive things. Like you can look at like it's funny because my kids always ask me, is it good or bad? And it's like there's no good or bad. It's how you perceive it. Sure, something might hurt, or if you fall, it could feel bad, but is it really bad? And so it's just all how you perceive things and how you see the beauty in everything.
Yeah, it's good, brother. Let me land the plane with you on this one. Dom, last thing. There's a dad listening to this right now. He's in the middle of his own deconstruction. His family fell apart. His identity went with it, probably. He doesn't know if he has the materials to build something worth keeping. I know you've been that man more than once. We talked about that. What would you say to that guy listening right now?
Just hang in there and go through the motions and understand you are good enough and understand you owe it to yourself to be that man that you know you're going to be, and to your children to show them as well. And yeah, don't allow, our identity is, my identity once was so many different things, like this artist and this, and it's like, you don't need one identity. You don't need the identity of to be a father. You don't need the identity. It's like, you're just human at the end of the day. You want to do your best and be a good human. So you owe it to yourself to just go through the motions and keep going, keep going.
That's good. Dom, I just want to, honor you and respect you for just being here, for not cleaning it up, man,
Yep.
for showing dads what it looks like to create when nothing seems possible. But I also want to give guys a shot. I know I didn't dig into all of your wizardry of all the art and things you do,
Yep.
but if guys are watching, listening, wherever they might be, where would you want them to find you and your stuff and what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, check us out on Instagram. The Surgeon, it used to be the Shoe Surgeon. Now it's just the Surgeon. And then my personal page is Ciambrone. Oh, give me a sec. Uh, the Surgeon on Instagram, and then my personal page, Ciambrone. I share more of a personal side to me and my children. Um, but yeah, and if you want to learn how to make shoes, check out surgeonacademy.com. I've taught over 10,000 students all over the world how to deconstruct, reconstruct, and kids now, where you can just customize a pair of shoes. And it's just a way of self-expression. And my classes have been a lot less about just shoes and shoemaking and more about self-growth and self-reflection. Like, making a shoe is very difficult. So when you go through that process, you learn so much about yourself too.
Yeah, I love it, dude. So guys, go find him, follow his work, support his stuff. And if and this episode hit you somewhere real, again, 2 clicks, follow on Apple or Spotify, leave a comment, review, send this to another dad who's looking for light and hope, something, man, something to hold on to. It's real. We're gonna help a million dads. I need your help to do those things with those simple clicks. I thank you. I love you guys. I pray for you every single day. And I'll see you guys on the next one. God bless you.